and welcome to this week's episode of the Six Figure Success Club. Today we are going to be joined by Mollie Lowe, who is a CEO and LinkedIn business coach. So let's get into it. So Mollie, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Mollie Lowe, and I'm a CEO and LinkedIn business coach. So when you think about this, I just want you to think about this way. For me, I'm not on LinkedIn for my health. I'm on LinkedIn to make a ton of money in my business. And so I help coaches and online service providers to optimize and monetize their LinkedIn presence through LinkedIn lead generation, attraction marketing content, and the in-mail sequencing for experience-based sales. And I love to bring in a mixture of strategy and spirituality together to do that. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Amazing. Thank you. I've been really looking forward to this episode because I feel like LinkedIn I feel like it gets kind of a bad rep. People know that it can be quite powerful, but it's always associated with the corporate world and nothing to do with business. And as a business owner, going onto LinkedIn can feel really scary. So I'm really excited for you to kind of unpick all of that because I imagine that's not actually the case. And it's just kind of a fear that we've all built up in our minds.
Absolutely. And I'll say this, it's validated. And I don't know about you, but I see LinkedIn as a beast that is 100% tameable. And if there's going to be anybody who's going to be riding that bull, it's going to be me. So let's go take the bull by its horns and let's figure it out.
I love that. So my first question for you then would be, is it aimed at corporate people? Is it a corporate social media platform? Or is there space for business owners on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I think that originally speaking, okay, and let me just tell you a little bit of a backstory as well. So I paid my dues in corporate human resources. And so I have been in HR and I've seen the evolution of LinkedIn before LinkedIn even existed. Okay,
Mhm.
so I've been in that space. And we always like to joke around, fellow HR people, you guys would probably relate to this, is that we see LinkedIn like HR, Facebook. Okay. And
Mhm.
so I've seen the evolution of it. And I think at the very beginning, absolutely, I think that LinkedIn was built for corporate networking. It's meant for the professional, you know, we're definitely seeing more white collar people on LinkedIn. Very rarely do you see blue collar. Not to say it's non-existent, but I think fast forward to today, it's so not the case anymore. It really is meant for business. And so what I always share with my community and my clients is I just want for you to think about how you leverage LinkedIn. How do you use LinkedIn? 9 times out of 10, you are not aimlessly scrolling through LinkedIn like you would on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook. You go to LinkedIn because you're seeking something. So whether it's information, resources, relationships like networking, a job, business deals, you're there for a reason. And so
Mm.
once you understand that and you crack the code, it is meant for business, 100%.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point that we don't sit and scroll on LinkedIn. I think the content on LinkedIn is becoming easier to consume. It is kind of more video content and more things you're interested in reading. But you're right, we don't sit there and scroll through it. We go on LinkedIn specifically to look for something.
Yep, that's it. And once you know that, then how you go about creating your content to market and to tap into the sales process for your ideal clients, it's a lot easier.
I love that. So as a coach or as a service provider, I need to be thinking, or people that are listening need to be thinking about the content that we put on LinkedIn being something that someone's going to want to go and search for. Is that right? Am I understanding that?
A- Absolutely. And that's the reason why, for me, I specialize specifically on attraction marketing for that reason. Because when you think about attraction marketing, I have a 4-part framework that I teach on that. It's all about awareness. So, symptom awareness, problem awareness, desire awareness, and solution awareness. So, when you're creating content on LinkedIn, you can repurpose LinkedIn content for any other social media platform.
Mhm.
But very rarely could you take something on Instagram and repurpose it on LinkedIn? Because on LinkedIn, you have to be serving, you have to be giving, you have to be offering some kind of awareness for your ideal clients. They're not just going to look on your post to see a cute little picture of you, or day in the life kind of things are fun, but they're not, they're no. They're not going to be like, oh, well, that's cute. Look at her cute cat. Like, they're not, LinkedIn people aren't like that. They're like, okay, so help me understand. Cute picture of your cat. What's the motto? What's the story? What's the underlying reason for why you're having me take a look at this picture? So there's a lot more intentionality too.
Yeah, I like that. I like the fact that you, don't repurpose from Instagram to LinkedIn, kind of go the other way because it fits better.
Absolutely.
So if, at the moment, let's take my business, for example. So my main platform is Instagram. But LinkedIn is something I've kind of dabbled in, but not hugely, because I've just come out of corporate and I associated LinkedIn with corporate. So I'm still on the journey of making LinkedIn like a proper lead generation for the business that I'm running now. So I'd love to get your take on how you think business owners can kind of overcome that, because I know I'm not the only business owner that feels like that. And how do we get over the fear of posting on LinkedIn about our businesses?
Oh, you are not the only one. Let me just tell you, okay? And I'm I'm the type of person where I'm like, okay, how can I ruffle feathers? How can I make things Molly? So I always take the biggest challenge and I'm like, I'm gonna figure it out. Now, some tips and tricks on how you can overcome this, like, oh my gosh, LinkedIn is too stuffy, it's too corporate. Like, how do I fit there? Right? Because a lot of us, my vibe is totally not corporate. I think you guys can. Okay, we're in 6 minutes. You guys probably can tell. Like, Molly is by far the furthest professional corporate person ever, and a lot of it is just putting yourself out there authentically and understanding that guess what? You're going to ruffle some feathers and that's okay. Leaning into your authenticity is how you gain traction on LinkedIn. Now, if you see, here's another fun fact about LinkedIn. LinkedIn is not meant the algorithm does not want you to go viral. So if there is a post that is viral, the algorithm flags it. Okay? And so here's what I'll say to you. When you post on LinkedIn, the viral posts are the ones that take a very unpopular opinion. They are the one that says the things that we all think, and it may not always come out of our mouth, but then someone had the bravery and the courage to type it up and put it on social media, specifically on LinkedIn. And so those are the ones that do so much better because you're just being real. And in the world of LinkedIn, where everyone can look very cookie cutter, nobody wants to be cookie cutter. So go with it. Tell your story, be authentic, write something that is an unpopular opinion. Don't be afraid to ruffle some feathers. And at the end of the day, it's just you being courageous and saying, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to post. And once you do it, then you're like, oh, this was nothing.
I like that. I think that should be the philosophy for all social media platforms. Just post what you want to post. Your people will find you. And it sounds like that's the same on LinkedIn, which is good to know.
Absolutely.
And in terms of the type of content that LinkedIn likes, what does that look like? Because obviously on Instagram we know that it's reels. On TikTok it's like face to camera. So what's the feel on LinkedIn? What content does it like?
Yes. So LinkedIn is always going to prioritize and incentivize your impressions, right? Because there's a difference between engagements and impressions on LinkedIn. The two are not created equal. And so the algorithm likes to incentivize when you upload native videos and when you go on live on its platform. Okay? So, yes. Those are the two things that always do well. They always perform better and they always have more impressions. Impressions on LinkedIn is how many people's news feed did your video or your live land on, right? So obviously you want more eyes on your content. And then of course engagements are the likes, the hearts, the comments, the reshare, the reposts. The more that you get engagements, that also increases your impressions. So native videos and lives are always going to be the best for you for LinkedIn.
I like that. I didn't realize that lives on LinkedIn were so popular.
Yes. Well, and here's the thing. I wouldn't necessarily say it's popular per se, only because people are still kind of iffy and hesitant on doing that. But the reason why I know this is because I go on LinkedIn Live every week. And then sometimes I'll do my LinkedIn Live launches monthly. And I've seen all of my data that pushes that. So if you're hesitant at all on going live on LinkedIn, just do it. Just the same thing as content. Just do it. Just jump in and do it. Because the algorithm likes it. Of course, the platform wants you to use its functionality. So why would it not incentivize you to go on live?
I love that, and I love a live. So yeah, I definitely will be adding that to my content strategy, I think, moving forward. And so obviously you're on a live or you're posting something. Does because Instagram is my most platform, I know it well. I know what it likes, and generally it likes storytelling and providing value. Is that the same sort of thing on LinkedIn? Are we posting, although the content might be slightly different, is it the same kind of feel to it?
Yes, and on LinkedIn, you have to be a thought leader. So I say this with so much love and compassion, y'all, because I get it. Sometimes it's scary, but on LinkedIn, you can't be mediocre. You can't be like, I'm kind of a good business coach. I kind of know what I'm talking about. Your word choices really matter. It is like turn those into affirmations. That's the best thing about my LinkedIn content is it is multi-purpose because not only is it storytelling and providing value and content, but listen, baby, this is the spiritual side. I am manifesting with my affirmations. I am the best LinkedIn person that you will ever come across. I am the LinkedIn coach, and let me tell you why. I am upholding my value and I'm standing firm and fully convicted in how I'm able to serve. So when you create content, own your value and your worth. That is what attracts your people to you. If you're kind of like, I don't know, I think this is the answer, maybe this, there's no place for that there on LinkedIn. You have to be a thought leader.
I'm a big fan of that. I think we should all be doing more of that anyway and shouting about our skills and what we do well. And it sounds like LinkedIn is the perfect place to go and do that.
Yes, yeah. We don't, when you decide to implement a LinkedIn strategy, go big or go home. Right. And so a lot of the times the way that you establish that rapport is owning your value. And yeah, and it boosts your confidence. I mean, like, who doesn't want that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've kind of covered the what to post, and then hopefully from that you'll attract some of your other clients. You'll start conversations. What does lead generation look like on LinkedIn?
Yes, this is so fun for me because I own it. I am such a black sheep. So, most people, most fellow coaches and online service providers that I support and I know in my circle, they'll say, a lot of my business is through referrals, which are great because referrals are warm leads. Like why make it harder for yourself, right? Fun fact about me, 60% of my paying clients are cold leads. Yes.
Wow.
I am totally flip-flopped. Totally flip-flopped. I don't know. It's just there's something that is so intriguing to me about connecting with my ideal client cold, and it's so rewarding to be able to earn their trust before you earn their business. And so I am literally the queen of LinkedIn lead gen because it's so fun for me. It's so fun. So when you think about lead generation on LinkedIn, the best analogy to do this is to think about like, okay, I always say Facebook is like Walmart. Okay, it's all right. It's okay to be Walmart. Instagram is like Target. It's a little bit better. It's got some good stuff in it, right? But still, okay, LinkedIn is Nordstrom. LinkedIn is like you're not going to walk in to buy some knockoff heels at Nordstrom. You're going in for the Jimmy Choos, you're going in for the red bottom Louboutin. Those are the kinds of things that you're looking for. So if you are a business in which your ideal clients are interested, okay, and wanting to invest in you, you're going to want to go on LinkedIn. It's a different buyer's market. The ideal clients on LinkedIn, they have more disposable income. And so high ticket, especially high ticket, if you're a high ticket coach, LinkedIn is the place for you because on average, the LinkedIn profiles, okay, earn 75,000 annually or more. And again, remember, they're white collar. white collar. So I'm just saying, that's where I'm making my money. And if you want to learn how, then you should tune in.
We are in the right place. I think I love what you're saying. I think LinkedIn sounds like it's kind of an untapped resource, and everyone that's listening, you need to go and implement a LinkedIn strategy. When it comes to kind of connecting with people on LinkedIn, if they're not engaging with your content, but you want to kind of go and find your ideal client on LinkedIn, are there strategies that we can implement to do that?
Absolutely. And so, when I think back to my very first year in business, and I worked with my own business coach, right? And she said, well, let's do this ideal client avatar exercise. Let's write down the demographics, let's write down the psychographics. And that was all great. But then I was like, what do I do with it? Okay, sure, I know who it is that I'm looking for, but what do I do with it?
Mm.
You take that exercise and you repurpose it. The best thing about lead gen on LinkedIn is you can pre-qualify who you're sending connections to. And you do that by looking at their profiles. If you really think about it, all of the demographics that you're looking for, location, title, education level, all of that stuff is already listed on the profile. Click
Mm.
and look. It takes me less than 6 seconds to pre-qualify a profile before I decide, do I want to send them connection request or not? Okay. There's so many different places for you to mine for leads on LinkedIn as well. So not only is the news feed full of them, LinkedIn groups, you could always look for those. Those are great communities for you to go ahead and mine for prospects. Once you start connecting first degree with your ideal clients, birds of the same feather flock together. And so anybody who engages in, let's say, an ideal client avatar, I just click, oh, she's got over 100 engagements and she's an ideal client. I bet you out of the engagements in her post, I'm going to find 5 more ideal clients. And it's always the case. And so lead generation on LinkedIn, some of the strategies is just repurpose the demographics and psychographics that you have. Use the search bar. That's the other thing. Take some of the keywords that really resonate with your ideal clients, put into the search bar. And the search results are so spot on. I love LinkedIn search results because the search bar is so accurate and so effective in finding your leads. So that's what I would say, just high level. But you guys, I can talk for hours on that.
Please do. Okay, so, so to recap, so we're searching in the search bar for keywords to do with our ideal clients' problems or the solution that we solve, or the solution we provide, sorry. And we're searching through LinkedIn groups and then cold connecting with people that look like our ideal clients based on their profile information.
That's right. That's right. Once you start growing your ideal clients, I always say the rule of thumb here is 80% of your first degree connections should be made up of your ideal clients. So if your first degree clients or first degree connections are your ICA, they also have friends in their space. And so, yeah, it's once you start doing it, it becomes really easy and it's fun to find them all over the place.
And do you think there's a strategy for how often you should be posting on LinkedIn or how often you should be showing up, or what's the thoughts there?
Yeah, consistency is absolutely the name of the game when it comes to posting. Because again, remember, if you are going to be a thought leader, you can't just ghost people for months and be like, hi, I have something to say about this. Oh, no, 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 no. You need to be saying what you need to be saying regularly. Now, for those of you who are new to LinkedIn and you haven't quite started, okay, if you're brand new, you're like, I really need to do this, start with 2 to 3 times a day, okay, or a week. I'm sorry, 2 to 3 times a week, okay. Yes, 2 to 3 times a week, okay. You do not need to be at my level, okay. I post Monday through Friday, once a day, depending on if I have a summit, a conference, if I'm doing a speaking event, or if I'm doing my own workshops, that'll bump to 2 to 3 times a day, okay. But really, once a day, Monday through Friday, is fine for me, okay. And so just start out easy, 2 to 3 times a week, be consistent, and just put out the things that you think your ideal clients would enjoy to read.
I like that. Yeah. And consistency being the key word there. So if you currently aren't posting at all, don't jump straight into posting 5 times a week, because the likelihood is you're not going to stay consistent with it. Let's start small, get used to doing that, and then increase it over time. And this is something I try and instill in all of my clients, because we have a tendency to to do the New Year's resolution effect, where you've decided you're going to sign up to the gym and go every day, even though you haven't been for over a year, and then you make it 3 days and you don't want to go anymore. So let's not do that with this. Let's pick a schedule that we can stick to and then get used to doing that before we then increase it to once a day.
100%.
Excellent. Okay, cool. So we're posting consistently. We are posting things that our ideal client is wanting to hear about, good value content. How do we sell on LinkedIn? How does that kind of fit into the strategy?
Absolutely. So here's the thing, okay? I'm going to say this, I'm going to say it loud and clear. Sales does not happen on the platform. Sales happens off of the platform, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that you earn somebody's trust before you earn their business, everything that you're doing through your LinkedIn strategy is to earn that trust. It's to build that rapport. It's for them to understand who you are and that you are a person of integrity and you're not here to just spam. Now, are there people who spam? 100%. I think that that is one of the things that probably is the most, it's the hardest hurdle for people to get over. My clients are like, gosh, I really want to do LinkedIn, but I'm so scared people are going to be thinking that I'm going to spam them because there's so much spam on LinkedIn. And there is, but you don't have to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about the sales side of things, tying this back to attraction marketing and your content, if you are not addressing the objections, the number one sales objections in your content, what are you doing, my friend? Okay. It starts there. The sales process is increasing your prospects' understanding of you calling them out. Like if you guys read any of my posts, I will call out common objections all the time. Oh, well, I don't have the money for you, Mollie. I really want to work with you. Okay, I respect that. I get it. Okay. And guess what? The right people who are ready to work with you won't, they're not going to have money for you, but they will go and find the money to work with you, right? And so sales starts in your content. It starts in how you build your relationships with them in the in-mails. When I connect with people, I never force a conversation ever. I will connect, and if they want to talk to me, great. I will continue the conversation. And then at the end of the day, what's the goal? The goal of the in-mails is get to know each other, share who I am, and ask very boldly and say, hey, I know, thank you so much. I know everything that you've shared with me thus far. This is exactly how I work with my clients. Are you interested in hopping on a call with me? If so, here's my booking link. The goal on LinkedIn is to get more sales calls, baby, not to close sales. We don't close sales on LinkedIn. Okay.
I love that. It's such a bold move, just going straight in for the. I think we quite often shy away from just asking the question, like, this is what I do. I think I can help you. Shall we chat?
Yeah, yeah. And this isn't like that bold invitation is not the first DM that I'm sending them, right? I'm having conversation over time. So I'm talking what I teach my clients in their in-mail sequencing is anywhere between 3 to 6 messages that you're going back and forth so that they know that who you are. They know what you're all about. You're asking really thoughtful, very sincere questions because you truly want to get to know them. And then after that sequence, you're like, yes, this is the right person for me. Then you boldly invite. You'd be surprised how many people you think are your ideal clients, but after talking to them, you're like, yeah, no, we're not inviting them on a call.
No. And that's the power of having conversations, right? It's getting to know the people that you're talking to. Like, not everyone that you think is going to be an ideal client is going to be an ideal client. And sometimes on the flip side, somebody that you don't think is an ideal client could end up being an ideal client. But you won't know that until you've spoken to them.
Exactly. That is why conversations, it's all about the conversations in the in-mails. That's all it is. Very rarely have when I think about it, I have never ever closed a sale in LinkedIn in-mails. It was always through conversation. It was off the platform, right? So but it's a lot easier for me to book those sales calls on my calendar. I'll tell you that though. And I'll sign up for more. Who doesn't want more sales calls on their calendar? Right? Amen.
Okay, perfect. So the objective of lead generation on LinkedIn is to get sales calls booked in, and then we're selling on the sales calls, as opposed to selling in the DMs, which is called in-mail on LinkedIn.
Correct. That's right.
And I think it's important for people to be aware of that so that we're not getting anyone who is feeling disheartened by the fact that they're not closing sales in InMail on LinkedIn. That's not the goal. The goal is to get them on a sales call. And if we can be aware of that objective, it makes the whole process a lot more simple.
Absolutely. And it's so much more streamlined too. Like you know what that intention is. And so you're not trying to make it more than what it is. It
Mhm.
is just, yeah, let's have a conversation, get to know each other. And if it makes sense, hey, do you want to hop on on a call? Yeah. Yeah, let's continue chatting. Let's continue this conversation on a separate call. Would love to meet you, right? That kind of thing. And it becomes so much easier.
Yeah, that's fab. So one thing that I'm not still not quite clear on that I'd love to just go back to is the type of content. So does LinkedIn
Yeah.
prefer video content or photos or long form text? What's the kind of deal there?
Yeah, so let me rank it from bottom to top, okay? Now, all kind of content, like as you guys know, LinkedIn originally started out as only text-based content. Very rarely did you see people post photos or videos or anything like that. Today, I think people are understanding that LinkedIn is now morphing more in away from a networking site to which it still is, but more of a social media networking site. So a lot of this is. So when you're thinking about content, first off, on the bottom of the list is just text only content. I think if that's something that, especially if you haven't started your LinkedIn strategy, you're like, I don't really, I know I need to start and I really don't want to think about photos or videos right now. Just start with the text. That's fine. Text post is on the bottom. Above that is text posts that also come with a photo, right? So you'll see that I do very much do a lot of content with photos and it's okay. It's number one, it's really engaging and eye catchy, so it's not bad. It's not like it's bad content. It's like, oh yeah, now you're just adding a little bit of a visual appetizer, okay? Then up from there is of course your native videos. And so those are the videos, they're short form. You can upload excuse me, you can upload as long of a video as you'd like. LinkedIn doesn't cap you like it does on Instagram or Facebook, like where it's like a minute in length. So you can upload however long of a video you'd like, which is fine, but it loves native videos. Okay.
Mm.
And then of course, number one is when you go live. And the reason why we say that is because every time you go live, the platform will automatically, as soon as you turn off your live, will automatically repurpose that as a native video. So it's like a 2-in-1 for
Okay.
you. Yeah, yeah. Now I'm gonna throw in one more thing, Lixxy, for you. From a content perspective, do not sleep on LinkedIn newsletters. Do not do it.
What's a
Okay.
LinkedIn newsletter?
What is it? Yes, yes. Let's talk about it. So a LinkedIn newsletter, I want for you to think about this as if you have a topic that you are like when you're writing out content and you're seeing that it's becoming a really long post, okay? That's your cue that it should be turned into a LinkedIn newsletter, okay? So a LinkedIn newsletter operates just like your email list that you would be sending an email out to your people. But here's the thing. My I'm gonna give you guys data for my business, okay? I have been in business for over 6.5 years, and my organic email list, now mind you, I'm not prioritizing it as much as I have been. I have maybe what, 700 people on it? Awesome. Okay, great. My LinkedIn newsletter, when I launched it, I gained 1,000 subscribers in 3 days. 3 days, baby.
That is mad.
Yes. So when you want to talk about growth, okay, LinkedIn newsletter is so powerful because not only does it still act as social media content on the platform, but so long as your subscribers didn't change their privacy settings, your LinkedIn newsletter gets delivered into their email inbox.
Wow.
Yes, baby. So I went from 700, so 700 to now I'm at like what, 3,000 in my LinkedIn newsletter on top of all of that, right? And so and I did it all with just LinkedIn newsletter. So that's
Mm.
another piece of content that I want to just share because I think people aren't aware of how to leverage it.
Yeah, I've never heard
Definitely.
of it. So definitely
Yeah.
something that I'm missing.
Yeah, don't sleep on the newsletter.
So does the newsletter, does that go out to all of your existing connections and does it also go out to non-connections?
Great question. So the newsletter will have it's going to have its own subset of people, okay, which may all be. So So on LinkedIn, you have your first degree connections, you have your followers, and then you have your subscribers. Okay. Your first degree connections are the ones that you're sending connections out to, right? Your followers are the people that, oh, they stumble across your profile, your personal profile. They love what you're about and they're going to give you a follow. Okay. Subscribers are those that subscribe to your newsletter. Now, can you have somebody, Lixxy, who's like Lixxy connection, Lixxy follower, Lixxy subscriber? Yes, you can. Okay. But the goal here is to have a diversification where if people don't, if they're not ready yet to be a first degree connection, they're going to be more open to following you and being a subscriber. Okay. And so what I have found is that the majority of my subscribers are actually non first degree connections. And I just need to decide if I want to connect with them or not. So we'll see. So it really does diversify who is seeing you. I dropped my newsletter this Monday, and already my analytics, my newsletter was shown to 210 new unique profiles.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what we want. We want visibility. We want that to be shown to new people. So yeah.
Cool. And then the difference between a connection and a follower, if I'm understanding correctly, is that you wouldn't be able to in-message a follower because you're not connected directly with them.
Yeah. So if you are using LinkedIn on the free version, okay, the only people that you can communicate with freely is your first degree connections. Okay. And so that's the reason why I say you want to save those connections. In the lifetime of your LinkedIn profile, you only get 30,000 first degree connections. That's it.
Wow.
I know. So if you think about that, that's not a lot. That's not a lot. And I plan on being on business for a while. Okay. So first degree connections, keep to your ideal clients so that you can communicate with them freely. Followers and subscribers, you need to be a premium member, or they have to send you a connection request for you to communicate freely.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. So we're limiting connections to our ideal clients so that we can talk to them and build a relationship with them that will then turn into a sales call, and then on the sales call we're going to sell to them.
Amen. Just like that.
I love it. Okay, cool. So I think we've done types of content, we've done lead generation, newsletters. Sounds like something that we all need to be over. Is there anything else to do with LinkedIn that we should kind of be adopting into our strategy, do you think?
Yeah, I think what people tend to forget about your LinkedIn strategy in general is that LinkedIn is also one that is SEO friendly. Okay, we think about SEO really from a Google perspective because Google owns YouTube and all that stuff. And yes, it's great. But I kid you not, the amount of people who actually say they book sales calls with me and I'm like, oh, how did you find me? Oh, well, I just put in LinkedIn and I just put in like, a keyword and your profile showed up. Okay, cool. Yeah. And so I think that people forget that piece of it. LinkedIn has now been showing up as search results on SEO. And if you want more visibility and you want to be found, which I want to be found, okay, then really, LinkedIn really is the place for you to go. And lastly, I'll share, not everybody, it's okay if you're not on LinkedIn because LinkedIn isn't for everybody. As a LinkedIn business coach, I probably shouldn't be saying that, but I'm so going to say that because I uphold the integrity. Like I will have conversations with people all the time. And there are some businesses that's just like, yeah, you don't need a LinkedIn strategy. I'm not going to sell you something or teach you something that's not going to really serve you. Right. So at the end of the day, really think about your ideal clients. How are they using LinkedIn? What are they opening that platform for? And understanding if they're like, no, my ideal clients never ever open up LinkedIn, then you don't need a LinkedIn strategy. I'll be honest with you about that. Right. So, while I've seen huge, tremendous success with it, it's not meant for everybody. So, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not something that we should be adding to. It's not another string to our bow if it's not going to be useful. That just makes more work that you don't have time. Most of us don't have time for. So unless you think it's going to be useful, it's not something you should be adding into your kind of social media strategy. I just want to go back to the SEO that you mentioned. So in order for that to work most effectively, do we need to be thinking about what's on our profiles and what words we're using in the profile descriptions, so that when people are searching on LinkedIn, it's our profiles that are coming up?
Yes, yes. And that is the power of LinkedIn, is because as we all know, everybody likes to use hashtags, and the intention of hashtags is to be found, right? So like someone can put in a hashtag so that they can find you. LinkedIn optimizes your whole profile as well as your whole company profile for those keywords. So anytime your ideal client would put in a keyword, and they put in there, of course, like for me, it's a lot easier because LinkedIn is their focus, right? Yeah. The most latest sales call I had, she found me because she was looking for a LinkedIn, almost like a lead generation, like an appointment setter that was going to help her to book more speaking events. And when I asked her, I said, "Well, how did you find me?" She said, "Well, I put in LinkedIn and I put in how to find speaking events, and you showed up." And it was because I always create content about that. I even had a workshop that I created on LinkedIn that I promoted on LinkedIn that populated for her so she could see it. So, yes, associate your profile and your company profiles with all of the keywords, all of the key topics that your ideal clients are looking for, and that's how it drives that SEO. So everything in your profile is searchable.
Amazing. That's good to know. So we need to make sure that now that we're adding LinkedIn to our strategy, make sure that the profile that we're presenting talks about what we do and who we serve and what we're serving them with.
Absolutely.
I love that. I think I've kind of covered everything that I wanted to. Is there anything else that you think that the audience would want to hear about doing on LinkedIn? I think we've covered quite a lot, I think, in this episode.
We did. No, I think we covered everything. Of course, at the end of the day, it's just a decision. Once you decide and you leap in, you can ride the bull and hold the horns like I do too.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you to everyone who's tuned in today.
Thanks for having me.
My 3 key takeaways for today's episode are to make sure that LinkedIn is the right thing for you before you add it to your strategy. We don't want you trying to do something just because other people are doing it. If your ideal clients aren't going to be on LinkedIn, it's probably not the right place for you. So have a little think about that before you dive in. The second one would be to start small. So we don't want to go from not posting at all to attempting to post every day, because we won't stick to it. Pick a schedule that you can do consistently to start with, and then once you can see that that's working, you can increase it. And as Mollie said, the thing that LinkedIn likes the most is lives and newsletters. So those should be where we're focusing our attention and giving them the most love, because that's where you're going to get the biggest return on your investment, your time investment. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.